وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the new episode of the Madinah Arabic short tutorial series. We are in Book 1, Lesson 10 and Part 4. So far, we've learned about two types of khabar of the ismiya sentences. Do you remember what they were? The first one was khabar mufrad, or a single word khabar, as in Yasirun mujtahidun. Yasir is hardworking. Here, Yasirun is the mubtada and mujtahidun is the khabar mufrad, because it is a single word marfu' ism. The second type was khabar shibhu jumla, or a phrasal khabar, where the shibhu jumla can be either a jar wa majroor combination or a dharf. Here's the example for jar majroor coming as khabar shibhu jumla. Aminatu fil madrasati. Amina is at school, where Amina is the mubtada and jar majroor fil madrasati is the khabar shibhu jumla. And here's another example that we came across in our last video. Indahu qalamun. He has a pen, where qalamun is the delayed mubtada. I'm calling it delayed because it is coming after the khabar in the sentence. Indahu is dharf and mudaf ilayh combination. Inda is dharf and dhamir muttasil hu is the mudaf ilayh. And we consider dharf inda, which is the mansub ism, to be khabar shibhu jumla. So these were the two types of khabar that we learned before. Today we'll learn about the third type of khabar. The khabar of the jumla ismiya can actually be the whole jumla. We call this type of khabar jumla. The khabar jumla can be either jumla ismiya, a nominal sentence, or jumla fi'aliyya, a verbal sentence. We will see the khabar coming as jumla fi'aliyya later, but let's see the khabar coming as jumla ismiya. Khadijatu laha tiflun. We can translate this sentence as Khadija, she has a child. If we look closely at what's coming after the ism Khadijatu laha tiflun, we will realize that it is a complete ismiya sentence on its own, where the ism nakira tiflun is the delayed mubtada. The jar majroor laha is the khabar shibhu jumla. And in this sentence, the entire jumla ismiya is coming as the khabar of another bigger jumla ismiya. And the mubtada of that bigger jumla ismiya is the ism Khadijatu. To better understand the structure of such nested jumla ismiya sentences, let's recall the definition of the mubtada and the khabar. When we talked about mubtada and khabar for the first time in part 4 of lesson 3, we said that the mubtada is the main hero of the ismiya sentence. The mubtada is what the sentence is about, and the khabar is some news or information about that mubtada. And here in this sentence, the main hero of the outer ismiya sentence is the ism marfu' Khadijatu, because she is whom we are talking about. And the news about her is laha tiflun. She has a child. And in this case, it turns out that laha tiflun by itself is another ismiya sentence. And the main hero of this inner jumla ismiya is the ism marfu' tiflun. Remember, mubtada is always marfu'. And the jar majroor laha is the khabar shibhu jumla. Now let's get back to the exercise that we left off last time. The third sentence of this exercise is similar to what we just talked about. أختي لها طفل صغير. What do you think is the mubtada and the khabar? Remember, أختي is the idafa combination here. It is composed of the ism أخت coming as mudaf and the dhamir muttasil ya coming as mudaf ilayh. And the mubtada is the mudaf أخت, which is the marfu' ism. The khabar of this outer sentence is the ismiya sentence لها طفل صغير. In this inner ismiya sentence, laha is the khabar shibhu jumla. Tiflun is the delayed mubtada. And صغير is the na'at for tiflun. And the final sentence is very similar in structure to what we saw in part 3. زميلي له أخ وأخت. My colleague or classmate, he has a brother and a sister. Let's look at the inner ismiya sentence first. له أخ وأخت. He has a brother and a sister. What would be the mubtada here? The ism marfu' أخ, right? And its khabar is the jar majroor lahu, which is the shib'u jumla. And wa here is the harfu atf, and ukhtun is ma'tuf to akhun. In other words, أخت is grammatically connected to أخ via the حرف عطف و. That is why أخت is مرفوع just like أخ. Now the inner جملة اسمية is the خبر of the outer جملة اسمية. زميلي is the combination of the مضاف زميل and ضمير يا coming as the مضاف إليه. And the مبتدأ of the outer sentence is the اسم مرفوع زميل of the إضافة. At the top of page 59, there is an end note for this exercise that says نقول, we say عندي كتاب, I have a book. ونقول, and we say لي أخ, I have a brother. لا نقول, we do not say عندي أخ. In other words, we cannot use عندي for أخ because أخ is a relation. It is inseparable. That's what we talked about at the end of the last episode. Feel free to revisit that video if you'd like to refresh your memory about the difference in usages of عندي and لي. Okay, with that, we finished exercise 6. Let's move on to the next exercise, which is exercise 7 on page 59. This exercise is about the new word مع, which means with. مع is mansub ism because it comes as ظرف in Arabic sentences. The example sentences given in this exercise give us a good idea about the usage of this word. For example, in the first sentence we have خرج حامد مع خالد. Hamid came out with Khalid. This is a فعلية sentence and the فعل is خرج. The فاعل is the اسم مرفوع حامد. مع is the ظرف. More specifically, it is ظرف المكان, the adverb of the place, and خالد is the مضاف إليه. The structures of the second and third sentences are also very similar to the first one. ذهب الطبيب مع المهندس. The doctor went with the engineer. ذهب is the فعل, its فاعل is الطبيب. مع is ظرف, and المهندس is مضاف إليه. Sentence 3 is جلس المدرس مع المدير. The teacher sat with the principal. جلس is the فعل and its فاعل is المدرس. مع المدير is the ظرف and مضاف إليه combination. Next sentence. من معك يا علي? Who is with you, O Ali? Keep in mind that يا is the حرف النداء, and the rule we learned before is that the ism coming after this حرف loses tanween. So we say يا علي, not يا علي. معك here is the combination of the ظرف مع and ضمير متصل ك coming as the مضاف إليه. And the answer is the اسمية sentence. معي زميلي. My colleague or my classmate is with me. معي is the combination of the ظرف مع and ضمير يا. زميلي is the إضافة combination of زميل and ضمير يا. And we learned in the last episode that ظرف cannot be مبتدأ. And we know مبتدأ should be مرفوع اسم. So we pick زميل to be مبتدأ of the اسمية sentence. وهو مضاف and ضمير يا is the مضاف إليه. And the خبر is the ظرف مع, and it is a شبه جملة type خبر. The next sentence is آمنة معها زوجها. آمنة, her husband is with her. This is another جملة اسمية. What do you think are the مبتدأ and خبر of this sentence? The مبتدأ is the اسم آمنة, and its خبر is the جملة اسمية that is coming after it. So the whole جملة اسمية معها زوجها is the خبر of the outer جملة اسمية. Now let's look closely at the inner جملة اسمية that is coming as the خبر. مبتدأ of this جملة is the اسم مرفوع زوج وهو مضاف, and the ضمير ها is the مضاف إليه coming in place of مجرور اسم. And معها is the ظرف and مضاف إليه combination, and the ظرف مع is the خبر شبه جملة of the inner sentence. And the final sentence. خرج أبي من البيت. My father came out of the house. من خرج معه? Who came out with him? خرج معه عمي. My uncle came out with him. عم is the paternal uncle. So the first sentence is the جملة فعلية starting with the فعل خرج. أبي is the إضافة combination composed of أبو and the ضمير يا. The اسم مرفوع أبو of this إضافة combination is the فاعل for خرج. من البيت is the جار ومجرور. The last sentence is also the فعلية sentence. خرج is the فعل. What do you think is the فاعل for this فعل? عمي is the إضافة combination of the اسم عمو and the ضمير يا. And عمو of this إضافة is the فاعل. معه is the ظرف and مضاف إليه combination. We are done with exercise 7. Let's now talk about the difference between these two sentences. المدرس عند المدير. المدرس مع المدير. As we know, both عند and مع are ظرف in these two sentences. And in this context, they both mean with. So both of these sentences are translated as the teacher is with the principal. But عند is used to indicate that the teacher went to the principal's place, like to his office, to meet him. So he's with him there. But مع is not restricted to any specific location. They could be together anywhere. I hope this clarifies the usages between these two words عند and مع. Before we finish this video, let's go over the entire table of ضمير متصل coming with the اسم مع for those who are memorizing them all at once. Even if you are not memorizing all of them at this time, it will still be helpful to go along with me to get used to all forms of this ضمير متصل because we're going to get to them soon inshallah. Let's start in the usual order from third person, then second, and first from مذكر to مؤنث جنس. معه معهما معهم. معها معهما معهن. معك معكما معكم. معك معكما معكن. معي معنا. Once again, معه معهما معهم. معها معهما معهن. معك معكما معكم. معك معكما معكن. معي معنا. Notice here the ضمير يا pulls down the last fatha of the مع to be kasra. So we are saying معي, not معي, but we are saying معي. This is it for today. We'll continue going through more exercises to learn a few more rules before we get back to the beginning of the lesson and read the main text. We'll see you in part 5. Assalamu alaikum.